Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Yellowstone fans have two theories about Spencer Dutton's 1923 finale ending, and they'd both change Kevin Costner's show. There are two different ways to interpret Spencer Dutton's, Brandon Sklinner, ending in 1923's finale, and either perspective has a massive impact on Kevin Costner's Yellowstone show. Spencer finally made it to Montana at the end of 1923 Season 2, fending off Banner Creighton's Jerome Flynn, men at the train station in Livingston and the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. Spencer was a crucial element in helping his aunt and uncle, Kara, Helen Mirren, and Jacob Dutton, Harrison Ford, win the war against Donald Whitfield, Timothy Dalton, with Spencer killing Whitfield in 1923's finale. Still, Spencer suffered a tragedy in 1923 Season 2's finale, with his wife, Alexandra of Sussex, succumbing to complications of hypothermia after an extended amount of time in the cold. Her death marks a grave loss for the family amid their Prohibition-era struggle, but Alex's fate isn't the only death we witness. Spencer Dutton's time jump in 1923 Season 2's finale sees the war hero collapse on his wife's grave, dying 45 years later. After the finale, it was clear that viewers interpreted Spencer Dutton's ending differently, and each perspective has compelling ramifications. After Alex Dutton's fate in 1923 Season 2's finale, the episode jumps decades into the future, showing Spencer Dutton's death in 1969. Spencer's sister and 1923's narrator, Elsa Dutton, Isabel May, explains that Spencer survived almost half a century after the family's war. Still, he never forgot his soulmate. Elsa tells us that Spencer was intimate with a widow after losing his partner, having another son with her, but never committing to a life with her. Elsa reveals Spencer, therefore, had two children. Before Alex's death, Alex and Spencer had a son, John Dutton, so Spencer's bloodline continued after 1923. Many believe that Spencer was John Dutton II's father after the events of 1923 Season 2, since he and Alex named their son John. John Dutton II, played by Dabney Coleman in Yellowstone Season 2, is John Dutton IE's father. As the parent of Coleman's John Dutton II, Spencer would be the grandfather of Kevin Costner's character, John Dutton IV. In Yellowstone Season 4, John tells Jimmy Herdstrom, Jefferson White, that his grandfather lost a leg. Therefore, if Spencer is John Dutton IE's grandfather, the war hero loses a leg sometime between 1923 Season 2's finale and his death. Some viewers believe that 1923's closing scene confirmed that Spencer was John Dutton IE's grandfather. When he walks to Alexandra's grave, Spencer drags his legs, walking with a slight limp. Many viewers point to this detail as confirmation that Spencer is John's direct ancestor, with the impairment suggesting he is walking with a prosthetic leg. Other viewers saw the final scene and felt there was no way that Spencer could be John Dutton IE's grandfather. They saw Spencer walking relatively normally for an 80-year-old man and suggested the scene confirmed Spencer had both his legs intact at his death. The ending 1923 scene is worth scrutinizing because Spencer Dutton's fate has massive ramifications for Yellowstone's story, impacting John Dutton IE's place in the Dutton family tree. If Spencer indeed walks with a prosthetic in 1923 Season 2's finale, that means he lost a leg in the 45 years that passed, and that he is the link to Kevin Costner's John Dutton IE. This would confirm that Taylor Sheridan broke the Dutton family tree in 1923 Season 2's finale. Spencer is a second-generation Dutton, so being the father of fourth-generation John Dutton II doesn't quite add up. Conversely, if Spencer walks with both legs, confirming that he didn't lose a limb, then he isn't John Dutton IE's grandfather, and the mystery of how Costner's character links to his ancestors continues. If Spencer doesn't lose a leg, Then perhaps he and Alex's son lost a leg in World War II at 20 years old and fathered another descendant named John Dutton. Spencer's not being John Dutton II's father could also mean that Costner's character's father is the child of Jack Dutton, Darren Mann, and Elizabeth Strafford, Michelle Randolph. Sheridan's next Yellowstone story, 1944, will likely confirm Spencer's status. 1944 is set to be 1923 Season 2's follow-up, taking place 20 years after the events of the family's war against Banner Creighton, picking up amid World War II. It's entirely possible that Spencer would return to the front lines, a seasoned war hero from the first major international conflict. If Spencer's war story parallels life on the ranch in 1944, then we could witness him lose a leg, confirming once and for all the link between John Dutton IE and his ancestors. We could also witness Spencer's son incurring the injury, similarly solving the mystery that orbited 1923 has always grown with thorns, but few branches have sparked as much speculation as Spencer Dutton's. As 1923 drew its first season to a close with Spencer and Alexandra's journey in peril and a wide ocean separating him from his Montana roots, fans were left staring into the horizon, not just for what's next in 1923, but how Spencer's fate could ripple through Yellowstone itself. Two major fan theories have emerged, and each one has the potential to reshape everything we thought we knew about the Dutton dynasty, and even shake the foundations of Kevin Costner's flagship show. Theory 1. Spencer is John Dutton's grandfather, and the true patriarch. The first and more romantic theory is that Spencer Dutton, hardened by war and softened by love, returns to Montana, saves the Yellowstone ranch, and becomes the direct grandfather of John Dutton i.e. Kevin Costner. According to this theory, Spencer and Alexandra will survive the voyage back to the States, reunite with Jacob and Kara Dutton, and eventually assume leadership of the ranch after Jacob's inevitable death or incapacitation. This theory hinges on a few things. First, the timeline works, just barely. Spencer was born around the late 1890s, which would make him a plausible grandfather to John Dutton i.e., who was born around 1950. If Spencer and Alexandra have a child in the early 1930s, that child could be John Dutton II, John i.e.'s father. There's poetic symmetry in this lineage. Spencer, forged in fire, survives the trauma of World War I, and finds solace and purpose by continuing the Dutton legacy in Montana. It would make 1923 not just a prequel, but a mythic origin story for the stoic, land-obsessed man we see in Yellowstone. It also recontextualizes John i.e.'s personality. He is, like Spencer, a man of few words and deep conviction, someone who has seen the worst in humanity through different wars and personal losses, and still clings to his family's land like it's a holy relic. Maybe those values were passed down not just through storytelling, but through bloodline, Spencer's blood. If this theory is true, it gives Kevin Costner's Yellowstone a more epic, multi-generational narrative than anyone initially expected. It turns John's battle to save the ranch into the final chapter of a story that began with Spencer's return from Africa, with love and blood on his hands. And that would make John Dutton's journey not just tragic, but destined. Theory 2. Spencer Dutton dies, and the ranch is saved by another. The second, and more tragic, theory sees Spencer's journey ending in failure. According to this line of thinking, Spencer either dies before he can return to Montana, or makes it back only to perish shortly after. Alexandra may survive, but Spencer's role as savior is never realized. Instead, it's another Dutton, possibly Jack, the impulsive and loyal son of John Dutton Sr., who takes up the mantle. This theory suggests that 1923 is not a triumphant hero's journey, but a Greek tragedy in which fate punishes even the noblest of intentions. Spencer, haunted by war, tries to escape violence only to meet a violent end. His absence at the ranch becomes a permanent void, and one that informs how future Duttons approach family, loyalty, and sacrifice. And here's where it gets especially interesting for Yellowstone. If Spencer dies, it means that John Dutton Ivy descends from a different branch, probably Jack or a future, yet unseen sibling. The legacy John is trying to preserve isn't Spencer's, but a legacy built on loss. That could explain John's bitter, unyielding nature. He was raised in the shadow of sacrifice, not heroism. His reverence for the land is born not from pride, but from grief. Furthermore, if Spencer dies before reclaiming his place in Montana, it adds a layer of melancholic irony to Yellowstone. The ranch survives, but at the cost of the one man who may have deserved it most. Spencer, who symbolized a chance for peace and restoration, becomes another ghost on the land John Dutton IE fights so hard to keep. What it means for Kevin Costner's Yellowstone. Either theory changes everything. If Spencer lives and fathers John Dutton too, it casts Kevin Costner's character in a new light, as the final link in a heroic, if bloody, legacy. It gives his fight to preserve the Yellowstone Ranch cosmic weight, not just a battle for land, but for ancestral purpose. That version of John isn't just a rancher. He's a chosen guardian, descended from a warrior who gave everything to bring the family home. But if Spencer dies, then John's journey becomes even more tragic. He's a man fighting to hold on to something he never truly understood, something built on bones. That makes Yellowstone not just a Western, but a meditation on generational trauma, a saga about the price of legacy when the people who built it are long gone, their stories buried in the dirt.